Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know this rush hour of July 31st, Wednesday. I'm Riza Diaz. We jumpstart today's rush with President Duterte once again defending his appointment of military men to cabinet posts. This time, he did it during the launch of the 911 TESDA in Taguig City on Tuesday. Duterte explained that he prefers officers over civilians since he believes they are more disciplined and more trustworthy, especially now that he is waging a war against corruption. But the chief executive maintained his accountability is to the people.
Ang iba sabi na nagpapalakas ako sa military para hindi ako makudita. You know, it was not the military or the police who elected me president. Taong bayan.
In his speech, the president also defended his faith, saying he believes in God. That's despite acknowledging his rift with Catholic priests.
May Diyos po ako, but it is not a religion that is tied to an organization or something which sometimes their ex-cathedra or dogmas is simply not acceptable to my God-given common sense.
And since he was in Taguig, President Duterte also took a jab at House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano, asking when will his family's political dynasty end. Cayetano was seated on stage while his wife and brother were seated with the crowd. However, the president was quick to say that he's just in the same boat as the speaker since his older children now hold key positions in Davao City.
Yung mayor, si Inday, the vice mayor, si Baste. Believe na ako ngayon, may haircut na. At walang ginawa yon sa buhay niya, kundi babae. Ngayon, he worries about the public interest. And that is, I'm grateful to God na si Pulong. Pero you can be very sure yung ano ito, si Inday pati si Inday is okay yan.
Meanwhile, here are the biggest stories from the dailies. Chinese Ambassador Zhao Jianhua claims that China will not fire the first shot amid disputes over parts of the South China Sea. Zhao tells Philippine Star that their military is mainly for self-defense and to make sure that they are ready to respond to any disaster. However, a report from the U.S. Defense Department says that Beijing is prepared to employ coercive measures to advance its interests as it claims for a world-class military by 2049. Filipino Star ngayon reports that 19 Filipino seafarers are currently detained in Mexico due to drug-related allegations. Along with 30 Polish nationals, the Filipinos were apprehended while aboard the UBC Savannah, which was docked in Mexico's Altamira port. The DFA says embassy representatives were able to speak with 7 of our seafarers currently detained for questioning. The agency adds that the group is in good spirits. No formal charges have been filed against the group, and the DFA assured the seafarers that they are already coordinating with Mexican authorities for their release. And this from the Freeman. Lapu-Lapu Lone District Representative Paz Razada has filed 3 bills in Congress, all in honor of Lapu-Lapu, the great warrior who defeated Ferdinand Magellan in the Battle of Mactan. Her first proposal is to rename the Mactan-Cebu International Airport to Lapu-Lapu International Airport. She also seeks to declare April 27 as a regular holiday to observe Lapu-Lapu Day. And finally, she wants to use Pugapo instead of Lapu-Lapu when referring to the fish. Manila's rehabilitation continues as Mayor Isko Moreno is now looking to put up a freedom wall to stop vandalism in the city. That's on top of his plans to grow more trees in the city's parks. Here's the story.
In a meeting with various groups, Manila Mayor Isko Moreno shared his plan for a green Manila. first on the list, opening up spaces at Arroceros Park for planting more trees. The second is to build a civic center in Loton.
Maintain and sustain the purpose of the park. Before the end of the year, about 50 or 60% of the entire plan is now in place. Very important. In fact, that is something that we can share for our children in the future.
He also visited the Bonifacio Monument to check the progress of its rehabilitation, which includes laying asphalt and building public comfort rooms for park goers.
Magsimula sa bakod namin ang pagsasaayos.
One of these changes is a Freedom Wall. Instead of vandalizing the Hero Monument, the mayor says the Freedom Wall will serve as the public's outlet to express themselves creatively.
Hate wall, freedom wall, whatever you call it, a wall that where can they express themselves in an artistic manner or beliefs.
Moreno warns that those who continue to vandalize will be punished.
Nakikisuyo lang ako, then we'll apprehend you. Tapos, pwede ko naman may awa ang Diyos, baka mabisa yung laway nila, di lawayan nila.
Papapuran niya, sir.
The Manila mayor, however, says he remains open to other options to further clean up the city. Reporting for News 5, Jen Calimon, we are One News.
Pag-asa warns of possible flooding in some parts of Luzon. Yellow warning is still up in Bataan and Zambales, and this means continue monitoring the situation in your areas. Meanwhile, a light to moderate rain is expected over Batangas and Cavite, while in Metro Manila, Bulacan, and Nueva Ecija, Pampanga, Tarlac, and Rizal, light to moderate rains may still continue. President Duterte has finally lifted the suspension on lotto operations less than a week after he stopped all of PCSO's gaming operations. Investigators apparently found the sanctity of lotto untainted. Leah Fernandez with the story.
5 days since President Duterte suspended PCSO's gaming operations, tellers like Cristalline Lagarto still receive their daily pay. Lotto agents have been feeling the brunt of the suspension, having to pay salaries and rent despite halted operations.
Kinukulit ko po yung boss ko, tinatanong ko po kung mag-open pa ba, kung kailan. Para po makahanap din kami ng trabaho. Kasi nag-uupa lang kami. May binabayaran kami, hindi pwede na mag-standby kami.
The same goes for new owners whose lotto outlets have yet to even start operations.
Lahat gulat, emotional talagang na ano. Pangalawa, pagdating sa business side, talagang zero. Walang benta.
The future indeed looked bleak for thousands of workers affected by the closure of over 30,000 lotto outlets, but there wasn't a lot of sympathy coming from Malacanang.
Bakit? Nung hindi pa ba sila empleyado, hindi sila nabubuhay?
Pero po,
do not underestimate the human spirit of Filipinos. Pag may dumarating na storm o anumang sakuna o anong mga bagsak sa ating buhay, nakakaahon naman tayo. Yan ay pansamantala lamang.
This is why it came as a surprise that on Tuesday night, President Duterte lifted the suspension of lotto operations. Other PCSO-led gaming operations, such as small-town lottery and Peryahan ng Bahay, remain suspended pending investigation of corruption and illegal activities. Executive Secretary Salvador de Aldea confirmed that Lotto was spared from hot waters after investigators found no anomalies in the conduct of its operation. The camp of PCSO General Manager Alexander Balutan earlier said that Duterte should have never targeted Lotto outlet owners in the first place if the problem was just with PCSO officials.
Lahat ng kontrata dyan, sino nag-a-approve? Hindi naman yung janitor eh. Ang nag-a-approve dyan yung board of director, particularly the chairman and general manager. Kung may corruption dyan lang umiikot sa board of director.
But for Justice Secretary Bernardo Guevara, the president's decision is still justifiable. He says Duterte's orders cannot be called arbitrary, even as lotto operators and legal experts say the legitimate franchisees have been denied due process. After all, Guevara says the NBI should have initial findings on said alleged corruption in the PCSO in a week's time. The DOJ chief adds that PCSO personnel who have clean hands have nothing to worry about since they will have the opportunity to prove their innocence before the NBI.
Malacanang has already said that it will await the result of the investigation before it makes a final move. So in my opinion, parang ano lang yan, preventive measure. Sir, even as the government is investigating, stop muna kayo.
For News 5, Ria Fernandez, We Are One News.
While that investigation is ongoing, the Supreme Court has put an end on a separate case concerning a former chairman of the PCSO. The Supreme Court cleared the former PCSO chairman Sergio Valencia in a 13 million peso malversation case. Recall that plunder, graft, and malversation charges were filed against Valencia, former President Gloria Arroyo, and other government officials for the alleged misuse of PCSO's confidential and intelligence fund during Arroyo's term. But the High Court has granted Valencia's motion to dismiss the case due to insufficient advice. Let's fast break now to Sports Rush. Barangay Ginebra stays alive in the PBA Commissioner's Cup semis, finally seeking a win past the Katropa. It wasn't the most spectacular night for reigning best import Justin Brownlee, having scored only 6 points in the first 3 quarters of Tuesday's game. But when the barangay needed him the most, he delivered. The Brownlee Magic clinched 8 big points in the final frame, helping the Gin Kings avoid a sweep with an 80-72 win that kept their title retention bid alive and kicking. For Brownlee, it was Ginebra's defensive stops that finally got them a win in the series. Now, from allowing TNT to sink 16 from the arc in Game 2, Ginebra only allowed them to shoot 5 last night.
Oh man, coming into the game, we want to really focus on our defense. And in the second half, I just seen some scoring opportunities for myself, and I just took advantage of them.
Here are the stories to watch out for later today. PCSO General Manager Royina Garma is officially launching her 24/7 hotline and ipaalam mo kay GM Facebook account today. Now, during the launch and a subsequent press conference at 10 a.m., Garma is also expected to share her thoughts about the lifting of the suspension on lotto operations. Malacanang will be holding a press briefing with indigenous people leaders at 11:30 in the morning. And the PBA returns to the Smart Araneta Coliseum for the semis. Will the Beermen close its best-of-5 series against the Rain or Shine Alasta Painters, or will they fight another day? Catch it live on PBA Rush. And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us again next time for another round of Rush. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.